Hey, are you ready for the biggest tell about all of this? Are you ready? Because people keep asking me like, are you still holding on? Okay? Let me explain this to you in a language you can understand it. Okay? Since election night, I have read story after story about the hostile foreign takeover of the US government. And that it was a red tsunami, and Donald Trump won president, and they got the Senate, and they got the House. You know what I mean? Congress. You know what I'm saying? They got the whole bag, and they got a conservative Supreme Court. Okay. Just so you know, if Donald Trump hadn't done anything wrong, he would be bragging about this being the biggest political win in history. And you haven't heard him say that one time. And to be completely honest with you, every single piece of content I've seen, bending the knee, obeying in advance, which is literally the first paragraph of On Tyranny, which is a book. Okay? People are just obeying in advance. They're saying Donald Trump and all his MAGA cronies and all those billionaires that he's appointing, they're going to collapse the U.S. Every single article I have read is, oh no, the worst has happened. You know what I have not seen one time? Donald Trump has just telegraphed his behavior and years in advance after being monitored by Russia for over 37 years, who has promised to destroy not just three-letter agencies, but social safety nets in the United States. Basically, making highly educated, very important people, federal government employees, contracted employees that got to pass a purity test. It's this just total fucking fascist dictatorship, right? And how come this is the first, like I just said it to my wife in the other room. How come everything I've seen is hostile foreign takeover of the US government? And then all these other things happen in the world, right? Where you see, like, for example, let me get the thought out, but I want to, before I do, because it's a big deal. How come we haven't seen one article where it details Kamala Harris, her career, her being the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee in 2018, her having written a book called The Things We Hold, where she, on page 236, literally talks about election integrity. So she knew ahead of time. Where they tried to pass a bill to increase election integrity in 2018, and the Republicans basically voted against it. And you mean to tell me that the greatest country on earth just said, okay, man, I guess we won't try to protect ourselves. Who just continue to gerrymander, continue to take outside money from Israel and Russia, right? Continue to lie to the American people and tell them that the economy is, oh, it's so bad, the price of gas is so high, you can't buy eggs, when in fact gas prices are under $3 and have been where I am. Eggs have been affordable, and I actually eat eggs, so I actually could tell you about the price of eggs. And the only time price of eggs skyrocketed was under Donald Trump. Remember when the shelves were empty because of Donald Trump? So anyway, COVID, you could say COVID, but the reality is like the stores were empty because of Donald Trump. because of supply line. Anyway, so what I want to point out is that I have not seen one article detailing how Donald Trump telegraphed his way into the greatest sting operation in U.S. history, in world history. Like, think about what I just said. Not one TikTok, not one Reddit post speculation, not a single article by a single writer. It's almost as if people think that you can't there's no way to defeat fascism. I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about how Donald Trump asked for the help of Russia on the debate stage in 2016. And I told you all about Stephen Spoonemore, who is a highly trusted data analyst who has been analyzing our election results for the better part of 30 years and found fraud in 2004 that flipped the Gore election. Google it. There's video of his deposition. And he said in 2016 there was interference but no fraud. In 2020 there was fraud for Donald Trump, but it basically not enough fraud to win the election. Keep in mind, Donald Trump filed a whole lot of lawsuits in 2020 claiming fraud, and only one of those lawsuits that he filed went in his favor. And it was, he basically got votes tossed out. He invalidated people's votes in 2020 and lost by like 7 million. So think about even going through with that lawsuit over 500 votes when you lost by 7 million. Man, you're a tiny man, right? And then think about the last part of his campaign. We have all the votes we need. We don't need your vote and all that shit. He telegraphed the shit. And you mean to tell me he's threatening to eliminate three-letter agencies, and you haven't read one article about how Jamie Raskin said in a video interview, since the American people didn't do it, I guess we're just going to have to do it. And on January 6th, we're going to tell Donald Trump, you are not eligible to be president, and we are going to need all of the protection that we can get, and we're going to deserve it. And so I just want to make sure, and again, I haven't seen one article where it's like, maybe Donald Trump and all his cronies they think they've won, and they're dead silent. Where's J.D. Vance? Can we get proof of life? What about, how's Donald Trump doing? Can we see him walk from an airplane to a podium, speak, and walk back to his airplane at the bare minimum? Because I saw him sit down at Thanksgiving. And I find it wildly uncomfortable that Elon Musk is using his literal child as a meat shield. And how I've seen TikToks of that, but I haven't seen not one fucking article. And I get it. It's a matter of national and international security. But not one article by one source about how Donald Trump and his rich friends may have walked into the largest sting operation in world history. Is it to appease Donald Trump's ego? But I want you to start looking for that material. Where is it? Where is the article that says Elon Musk fucked up, knows it, and Donald Trump and Elon Musk went to France because that French president is a conservative president that just toppled their government, right? And I told you he was going to have to probably resign. They went to him to fucking probably beg for asylum. You got to think about ICC charges, fleeing the country. These are where's that? Where's that content? Y'all are so quick to fucking put the boot on your face and say, "Oh, I'm being oppressed." And not a single one of you have said, there's hundreds of thousands of federal government employees in the United States. And many of those people have been working in conjunction with inter-organizational investigations into Donald Trump for years. And I was pointing out in my live yesterday how Donald Trump's cases that Jack Smith had against him, they got dismissed without prejudice, right? Did you know that they got double dismissed? Last week, Jack Smith filed for dismissal again. And I asked around a little bit, what does that mean? And one of the things that I got back was clearing the jurisdictional runway. I just want to point that out. I haven't seen one article, one video. This probably gets taken down. Remember, it's for entertainment purposes only. So I don't actually know what I'm talking about. But all to satiate one man's ego and to keep an armed mob from smearing shit on the U.S. Capitol walls. This is where we are. Not one article detailing how they walked into the spider web. How there was a network set up in anticipation. Many countries were monitoring our election. At least 5 that I can think of. And a month before the election, Joe Biden and multiple other government agencies, like multiple 3 and 4 and multiple letter agencies, they issued a joint statement saying they were warning about Russian interference in our election. And again, that feels telegraphed. Now that you know that, right, that feels telegraphed. And Donald Trump said, don't vote for me, I got all the votes for me. And that sounds like he cheated and he was coming to grips with it. And he realized he took all the help that he could get. And if he didn't stem the bleeding, he was going to blow out, win this election. It would be way too obvious. But again, I want to point out that the way elections break, when you run good elections, you win most of them. Democrats gain seats. So even if Donald Trump becomes president, which I don't believe he will, 14th Amendment, Article 3, Jamie Raskin said we're going to have to tell him on January 6th, right? And then it's a campaign finance violation to nominate someone to a cabinet position that has donated to your campaign. And all those people that Donald Trump has donated, you know what the commonality is? They're all loaded. Haven't seen a single article about why would you make that decision? Because he committed fucking treason, and the penalty for treason is death. He doesn't plan on being here. Have you seen one article even stating that? So now I'm like, am I crazy? Or are we doing this, keeping it off the radar? We've not read one article where like, oh, hey, Donald Trump's the one in danger. Elon Musk is the one in danger. There's a reason they just fled to fucking France to beg their president for asylum in the event they catch ICC charges. You hear picking up what I'm dropping? Have you seen an article about that yet? I could keep going. I'm going to go live. But think about this. All you've seen is like, oh, we're so oppressed. Okay. That's where we are. Cool.